Hey, are you the type of golfer who loves hitting your irons because you're deadly accurate, but you got no distance with your driver off the tee? Or maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you can hit the long drive, but you just simply cannot hit a solid iron shot. Well, the good news is you've come to the right spot, because today we're going to talk about the difference between hitting a quality drive and hitting quality iron shots. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, Director of Instruction for US Golf TV and the Sanford Power Golf Academy. And a lot of people think that there's two different golf swings for the different types of clubs, woods versus irons, but I'm here to tell you that for the most part, the swings are basically the same, but a lot of it has to do with how you approach it. So today I want to give you a couple things in terms of how you approach your irons versus your driver, and at the end I'm going to give you a nice simple tip that you can do with the driver that's going to help you hit the ball high and draw it a little bit, which always increases more distance. Now, hopefully if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel, because I can tell you this, man, we are putting out great information on a regular basis that's helping people play better golf. Also, be sure to leave a comment. I love hearing from you, whether you agree or disagree. I love the batter back and forth, and I can always learn something from you other fellow golfers out there. So let's dive right into it. Now, first of all, the thing we got to talk about here, on an iron versus a driver, the most important thing is the angle at which the club is coming in contact with the golf ball. So when we're hitting an iron shot, we ideally want the club to come in contact with the ball as the club is still traveling in a downward motion or a descending motion. When we do that, we tend to hit more quality iron shots. Now, if you did that same thing with your driver, you would probably hit a lot of them on the top of the face. You'd probably pop a lot of them up, lack a lot of distance. But with an iron, that's a good thing. You want a slight descending motion. Now with the driver, okay, because the ball's on a tee, it's the only club that you hit where the ball is teed up really high. You want to actually catch the ball as the club is slightly ascending or it's moving upward. So think of like on an airplane. When you're coming in for the landing, that's how you want to be when you're hitting an iron. When you're doing takeoff, that's how you want to be with the driver. So how might you do that? Well, it can be as simple as ball position. So I've got two balls down right here. I've got one for the iron and one for the driver. So if I was to set in here to hit these two shots, you would notice that the iron shot, the ball is more in the center of my stance, versus the driver, it's more off my lead toe, my left toe, or the inside of my left heel. So simply by changing the ball position, I can change the angle in which the club is coming in contact with the golf ball. So that would be the first tip I'm going to give you, is be aware of the ball position with the irons, more in the center of the stance, with the driver a little bit forward. Now, I've also put together some great information, some great video series on greatgolftipsnow.com, greatgolftipsnow.com, where we dive really deep into hitting irons, drivers, bunkers, putting, you name it. We cover everything. It's all free. It's just something that we do to help out our fellow golfers. So the second thing, though, that I want to talk about in terms of irons versus driver, okay, is actually what is the objective? Now, with the objective with the driver is we want to hit the golf ball far, right? I hope you do. That's one of the reasons that you're playing golf. But with an iron, I'm not looking for a ton of distance. What I'm looking for is accuracy. So let's talk about how that impacts the golf swing. So when I'm making an iron swing, for the most part, I want to stay relatively centered. I don't want a lot of movement from side to side. I want to turn, but I want to stay relatively centered, because when I stay centered, it makes it easier for me, in my opinion, for a variety of reasons, to deliver a nice square club face, have good solid contact, and create some accuracy. Now with the driver, I need distance. Now there's a variety of ways to create distance. So just real quickly, you can create speed, all right? i.e. speed. One is you got to hit the ball in the center of the face, okay? But you can create some speed through a variety of ways. One of them is turning, or what I might call twisting. One of them is extending or pushing up. And as I already mentioned, at greatgolftipsnow.com, we dive into all of those things. But the most common one, I think the easiest one, is shifting of weight from side to side. So if I have a little bit of weight on my lead foot and I push it towards my trail foot, that's going to help me create some momentum and some speed. So when you're hitting your driver, you want to actually move a little bit. So you start a little left, you go to the right, and then you go back to the left. So when I'm swinging a driver, there's definitely more side to side movement, versus an iron, it's more of a centered movement. So those would be the couple things that I would do in terms of that. Now, I promised you earlier on that I'd give you a tip with your driver to help you actually launch a little bit higher and draw it, which is definitely going to help your distance. All right, so the first thing that I want you to know is that because you're hitting up on the ball with the driver, it makes drawing the golf ball, all right, drawing the golf ball a little bit more challenging. I'm not going to dive into deep as to why that is. We've covered that in some of our other videos. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check some of those out because we dive deep into why that is. But here's what you're going to do. When you head to the golf course, when you're set in there, of course you already know because we talked about it, the ball is going to be towards your lead toe, the inside of your lead heel. I want you to aim slightly closed, or for me as a right-handed golfer, slightly to the right of the target. The second thing I want you to do is take your lead hip, which for me is my left hip, bump it slightly towards the target. That'll put a little bit more weight, a little bit more pressure on your lead foot. And the third thing you're going to do in your setup is take your lead arm and raise it up just slightly. So notice that my lead arm is slightly above my trail arm. Because when you do those three things, what happens is it allows you to hit up on the golf ball, swing a little bit more to the right, and actually draw the golf ball. And when you draw the golf ball, you're definitely going to get more distance.